yarn are there, and we are going to see those components in the diagram, as well as we will explain those diagram in detail, in greater detail, just to understand the architecture. Okay, so let's say we have a client, we have one client, or let's say we have a client, and then we have a resource manager, right? And let's say this client talks to the resource manager, okay, and we have another term called like a node manager. So just I'm drawing one more diagram for this. So we have node manager. So just I'm writing short MGR node manager, right? Or rather I should use, so there is a node manager, right? And then we have the container. So we have a container, and we are going to see each and every component in detail. And then we have application master. I'm just trying to use a different word for that. So we have application master. So you have seen three more components. Okay, so this is one of the node that. And similarly, let's understand this part first, and then we will get into detail. So let's say I'm using a diagram. So let's say I'm just putting a one that is a flow, kind of flow. Okay, so let's say client submit the yarn application to the resource manager, and the resource manager actually start the container. So container is a part, so just we will see that, and container is actually are there in the node manager. So you can say this resource manager is on the master node, and these are your worker node. So just I'm giving an idea of the same Hadoop architecture. And the resource manager actually you can say start the container. So just I'm writing two as a start container. Container, we'll see what is a container. Container are the resources like a RAM, like a you can say CPU cores. So these are the container. Okay, and after that this is a worker, and the node manager is something like your task tracker, which actually execute the framework, which actually execute the task or job. So node manager, then after that node manager launches the container. Okay, and in that we have an application master, which is actually your something like a code which need to execute on the part of that. So this is a JVM code which needs some kind of resources like RAM and CPU cores, which is actually a container, so that need to be executed into that. Okay, now once the container, that means the now important thing is that this resource manager, this container, that means this container will need the resources. That means it asks for the resources. So that means fourth we can say it will allocate the resources to the actual job, and this it will be done by the heartbeat protocol, because it will tell that this node is alive or not, right? So now what happened, this is your node manager, and then you can say this will execute the process. So if we take in another way, if you understand, the client is actually submitting the job to the resource manager, which is actually taking care of each and everything. So now if you remember your job tracker, the job tracker task is broken down into your resource manager and your node manager. So just to understand, you can assume that this works on the master node, and this works on the worker node, right? And then similarly, this is a worker node. Now resource manager will tell the node manager that to start a container. So that means that whatever the job is there, it need to execute and needs some kind of resources in terms of CPU and memory, and then it will ask node manager to please allocate this kind of container or resources. And and the resource manager will be having information about each and every nodes, information that how much resources are there in the worker node, with the help of node manager. So that means in a single node it will be there, the node manager will be in every node. So let me draw one more node manager. So let me draw one more node manager. So this is our node manager. Okay, this is our node manager. And similarly what will happen, there will be a container, and we have an application master. So now you can assume that in if and this is a worker node. So this is worker node number 2. Let's say this is 1 and this is 2. So that means this is a worker number node and 1, 2. So similarly, in every node, the node manager is actually, these are daemon. So these two are a daemon threads. These two are daemons of yarn. So now what happened? In every worker node, there will be a node manager, and master node, we have a resource manager, right? So no, what happened? What will happen? The information about the resources on the node, just like a CPU or core machine, CPU cores or RAM, it will be given. This information will given to the resource manager through the node manager. Okay, through the heartbeat protocol. Now, if you see these steps, what is happening? The client is submitting the job, or you can say yarn applications to the resource manager, and then resource manager is asking the node manager, because resource manager is having an information that which worker node is having some resources to execute the job. Okay, so based on that, it will ask the required worker to execute, and then it will ask to start a container. Now the job of the node manager will be started. The node manager will ask or will launch the container. Okay, and after that, when they launch the container, that means now resources are needed. Then that means the container is actually allocating the resources through the heartbeat protocol by the resource manager. Okay, and this will be done by the node manager, but resource manager will keep track of each and everything. So now things are done. Now what happens if the application is small? So let's say application is that much small that it can be executed in a single node. Then what will happen? If it is executing in the worker node itself, then we will say that this application is called an Uber task. That means if it's a single one. This is very simple. So when it is a single application, it is an Uber task. Okay. Now, if the application is quite big and it needs more resources, which is not sufficient, or which container are not sufficient or from the worker node, it needs some more container from other node. So resource manager will start allocating those things are also. So what will happen from this point? From this, it will ask the node manager, or you can say, I am just putting this way. The fifth point, I can write this. It will ask just to start container because the resources are not sufficient on the worker node. So now this node manager will launch the remaining required resources is needed for that. That means that what does it mean? If the job is quite complex or like is too big, which cannot be executed in a single node, then it needs some other node to execute, and then it will send the request to start a container on the vacant node, or which is not actually fully occupied, right? So now when we start this is a child process. So what happened when we do this? That means we are starting the another container on node number 2, and then what will happen? This process is called this process just to execute the container on another node is needed in an umbilical protocol. So what we call umbilical. So if you the what is the meaning of umbilical? Umbilical is actually a cord. The umbilical cord is there when the child born, and then which is attached to the mother, and then when the child born, then doctor cut that that cord, and which is originated from the navel of a child, right? So similarly, based on that, it is written as a umbilical protocol is needed, and that is it is launching the child. That means I'm just writing this is actually launching the child. This protocol is called an umbilical protocol, right? So this is all about the yarn container. You can say yarn architecture. So any question, guys, from this? If the work is more complex, needed more than two, which application master will start the third container? Obviously, first one, because it is actually originating. Because just try to understand, the node number 2 is a child. The node number worker 2 is a child because I wrote the umbilical protocol, and then node number 1 where the container is executing, it is actually a parent. Okay, so obviously parent will create a child, another child, and this child will give information to the parent. What is this? Uddhav says that what is the third point? Third point is launching. Launching means that because you are a worker node and one daemon is running, which is called a node manager, and I am the resource manager. I know that through node manager, I know that Uddhav, that you have a lot of resources left because you are free right now, because you have just executed one of the job and you are free right now. So what I will do, I will ask the node manager to allocate some container. So that node manager will launch the container. So container is actually a resources, and we will see all the component in detail just in a moment. Let's see, guys. So let's start with the resource manager. The first component is your resource manager. Now the important thing is resource managers is actually you can say there is resource managers one per cluster. So you can see there will be one resource manager per cluster, and then resource manager is responsible to take the client request, right? And you can also say that resource manager actually allocate, or you can say manage the resources across the cluster. The resource manager is responsible to allocate and you can say manage resources across the cluster, right? And then it is the responsibility of the resource managers to create an application master, because application master is important. So it is the responsibility of the resource manager to create an application master. And when I say application master, that means it is responsible for the life cycle of the application master. Okay. So now another property you can say that the resource manager is responsible for scheduling jobs. So because there can be n number of clients sending a request to the resource manager, that means it will schedule the jobs also, which job will execute first and like that. And it is also have you seen that point number 4, that means that it is allocating the you can say allocating the different resources to the application is running on the worker node, and it will allocate all the resources, which is just like a container, to the application, and then it will keep track of all the progress of the job, right? And it will also take care of all the node manager that they are working or not through the heartbeat protocol. I'm not writing on that because I will write on the node manager part, that node manager are talking to the resource manager through the heartbeat protocol, right? So this is a resource manager, some of the properties of the resource manager. So we can put some node manager. So what is a node manager? So I'm just writing rm over here, and then sometime we wrote resource manager over here. The first point about the node manager, that means this node manager is actually running on all the worker node, on the all the worker nodes, right? Similarly, like a resource manager is running on one per cluster, and it actually launch and monitor. It will also monitor, but what it monitor, it will monitor the container. Because I am the resource manager, I will just ask you to allocate the resources for the or container for this job, and the rest of the part will the worker will do, right? And you will keep me updating on that. That means you will keep resource manager update through the heartbeat protocol, right? So now when you are responsible for the container, that means you are also responsible for the container life cycle management, right? So then you can say what other job or other properties or other task of the node manager is. It is actually responsible to uh, you can say tracking the is a health of the node in which this is executing, right? Apart from that, it actually kills the container once the job is done, as directed by the resource manager. So once task is done, so that means the resource manager will direct the node managers just to kill the container, because that container is now needed by the new job allocated. Okay. So now let's see what is actually an application master. So another application master, which normally we put as an AM. So application master is actually what happens is there is will be each application. There is, that means any application or any job. So now the word job is converted into the application. So each application will be having one application master. That means this application master will be unique. Okay. So I'll give an analogy just after completing this. I will give an analogy just to understand what is in the yarn architecture. Okay. Just give me a moment for that. So now you can also say that because application master is responsible for doing all those stuff. So now that means it is actually coordinate. You can say coordinate application execution. because now the job is actually executing and in the cluster. Then once the application is executing, that means it will report to its client, because there will be a number of clients are there. They will run the job in the yarn architecture. Then it will report to its client. It will directly call this, and I will point out each and every point, no problem. Now you can say this job is actually, this application will negotiate resources. Okay, that is resources. When I say resources, I mean to say these are the container. So application master will negotiate resources from the resource manager, because the resource manager will, it will ask resource manager that it means I need those kind of resources. And if you see, the application master is actually nothing. It is your JVM process. That means the process, the code which you have written in MapReduce, something similar like code will be there as a JVM process. That means it will be an application master. Now this application master actually run a computation in the container. That means it will run the computation in the container, and then you can say it will return the result to the client, and it will return to the client. Or you can say it is actually, you can say, request more container. When it is not an Uber task, it will request more container from the resource manager just to run a distributed computation. So this is the property or different, you can say, something roles or task about the application master. And then I want to add one important thing is about the container. So just what is a container? So what is a container? Container is nothing just like a physical resources. The physical resources just like your RAM, or you can say CPU cores. I'm just talking about. Okay, because this is actually your threads. Okay, so this is actually your thread. So you can say container. The container may be maybe some Unix process. Okay, it can be some Unix process, or it can be your Linux process, which is called as C groups. Okay, so this can be C group also. It can be Unix process also, because this idea of container came from the Unix processes itself. Okay, way back. So you can say container can have multiple containers. Okay, that means you can say we can have a multiple containers, because even in a single node. Why? In a single node, it is possible that you are executing 5 applications. That means there will be 5 application master, and 5 application master need 5 containers. Okay, so that means this can be, we can have a multiple container in a single node. So guys, just you can have a look on this. This is very important, but you can spend at least 2-3 minutes on this. But before that, I want to give a very interesting analogy just to understand the yarn architecture. Okay, guys, is it okay? So meanwhile, you can have a look on the points from the resource manager, and then you can correlate those points with my analogy of yarn. We have talked about the resource manager. Okay, so just take an example of MapReduce first. So I am the CEO of the company. That means I am the job tracker. So being as a CEO of the company, what I am doing is I am taking care of all the client requests. I am bringing the project, right? And then I am responsible for executing all the projects, and these projects are executed with the help of project manager. That means I am also a project manager, because I am handling the projects itself, and I am handling multiple teams in my projects. Those are the worker nodes. So that means I am taking care of, responsible for taking a request from the client, and after that I am responsible for allocating resources to the projects. I am responsible for scheduling the projects. Okay, because being as a CEO of the company, in this point I am taking everything. The job tracker is taking care of each and everything. Responsibility of job tracker was too much. That means there was too burden. So it means that it is overburden. Now the responsibility is overburden. That means we came up with the idea that there should be some solution for that. So Yarn architecture says that split the architecture of job tracker into two, or you can say job of the job tracker into two parts. Let's have a resource manager and the node manager. So that means now the burden will be segregated and distributed so that it will be much effective. So what was the problem in MapReduce? So I am responsible for the client request and I'm also handling all the project. So what has happened? If I am busy in doing the project, I am not able to handle the client. So that means there is I'm missing some clients. Then my efficiency will be less because we are getting less project. So if I am taking the client request, I am not able to execute the project. So that means now we are not delivering able to deliver the project properly. Got my point? So now in the Yarn architecture, we have a resource manager as well as the node manager. So what happens? Resource manager is the CEO of the company, right? And the application master is the project manager. So what will happen? Being as just now see all the points. Now let's start with the resource manager. Now resource manager is one per cluster. That means I am the CEO of the company. I will be there will be only one CEO. And client request means then I am responsible for taking all the requests from the clients, right? Now what I am doing is I am allocating and managing resources across the cluster because I should know how many employees are there, how many software engineer are there. You got my point? So that means I should know how many because my resources are software engineer, or you can say my resources are my team. So just I should know how many resources I have in my team, and then how many are allocated for which projects, and I need to know which are free right now in the resource pool so that I can allocate some project. This is the third point. I hope you understand this. And then creating an application master. What is the meaning of creating an application master? So you can say that once we got a new job and we see this that there is a one employee is free right now in the resource pool. So let's say Anusha Goyal is free right now. Okay, so what I will do, I will create a Anusha Goyal as an application master. Then I will create a project manager. So Anusha Goyal will be a project manager for the job number 25, let's say. Okay, so she will be a application master for that. Now that particular application, for that particular application there will be one application master. And just taking in another way, once the job is done, what Anusha will be do, Anusha will be clean. That means I will revoke all the she will not be a project manager, and then she will become a normal employee of the club. And some other job number 27 comes, and I will make RN Arora as a project manager because he is free. So depend upon the availability, the resource manager will create. So now what happens? The application master is responsible for executing the project. I am not, being as a resource manager or CEO of the company, I am not responsible for creating. So now let's come to the second point, scheduling. Next point of scheduling the job. So now scheduling the job means I will allocate all the jobs, which job I need to execute, and I will make a queue for that. Okay. And allocating resources to the application, that means once the job is executing on the node manager, I know that this application master should execute on which node. Okay, which node this application master should execute, and I will create that application master in that particular node, and I know that the resources are available there. And progress of the job, because project manager will keep telling me that we have done that much of work. So this is about the resource manager. Okay, so just I will ask you can ask the question. Just let me complete the second part also, so that in totality you can ask the question. And the node manager is quite simple, because the node manager runs on the worker node and it will launch the monitor. That means it will provide the resources. It means it will provide the CPU, it will provide the core CPU and the RAM part. And then it will keep on updating the resource manager that through the heartbeat protocol, that how many resources are left. And then I am responsible for the container lifecycle management, because the node means node contains CPU and the RAM. So that means the node manager will take care of the lifecycle management of the container, that means CPU and the RAM. And then because it is installed in the this daemon is installed on the worker node, that means, and it will be installed on each and every worker node, that means it will take care of the health of the node. That means it will keep track of the health of the node. And if the node of the health is down, then node manager will intimate the resource manager, that means this node is down, and then resource manager will not allocate any container from that particular node till the time the node this worker node is up. I hope this is clear. Now let's move to the application master, because Anusha Goyal is the application master I have just created because I got a new job. And once I allocated it, I am just quite busy in taking another request from the client. And meanwhile, I'll also know how to allocate the resources and this, because now I've assigned the project manager Anusha Goyal as an application master. Now she will be responsible for that. So that means there will be one application master for each application because it is unique. For another job, I will create another job means application. For another job, I will create another application master. And then once the project manager will report to the client, that means when the job is done 30%, 40%, then they don't need to come to me. You don't need to disturb your CEO every time. And then you can directly talk to the client so that the intervention will be less, and then resource manager can utilize that things, utilize the time in some other areas. So this is the beauty of this architecture. But you will keep on giving me the job progress, but it's okay, no problem with that. Now, fourth point, if you see that negotiate resources from the resource manager, because you are the project manager, Anusha, you know that in your project you need three developers, one software engineer, one tester, and one database administrator. So you know that you have the resources, this kind of resources. That means you will negotiate the resources from your CEO of the company. I need these kind of resources, and I have the information of all the resources because I am one in the whole cluster, and I am keeping track of each and every resources in the cluster. So you know that the container which you have allocated to the application master is not quite good enough. So you need some more container, then you will spawn the child container in some other node. So that means you will negotiate this resources, means container from the resource manager. Because if you need three developers and I am giving you two developer, you have to negotiate that I need one more developer. This is a negotiation. And this application master is your JVM process, means that this is a JVM code which you need to execute just like your word count problem. Okay. And then it runs the computation in the container. That means it runs all the computation in the container, because to running a computation we need a RAM and CPU basically, and then the things will be returned to the client. Okay. And then most obviously it requires more container for the resource manager if it is needed, and because it is running a distributed computation. So guys, from my side, this is there. And please let me know, what is there any question you need to ask, because this is very interesting and very important architecture. So let's move forward. So now let's highlight few of the point. Just let me know about the resource request. So just, so you can say request for container. If I say request for, if I say, I'm just elaborating that things, some of the things which we have discussed. So if I say request for container, I mean to say that the amount, what is this one? This is actually amount of, yeah, you can say compute, or you can say computer resources. You can also say that compute is also same good thing. So compute resources, and you can say locality constraint we put normally. So I hope you understand this point. The amount of compute resources we need to allocate, and just we need to find that node manager where the computer resources, or you can say compute resources are available, and the locality constraint means where the data is in that particular machine. We'll try to put that, right? So this is a resource request, and we can say locality is critical. And I hope you understand this point, why data locality is critical, because just to use the cluster bandwidth efficiently. Why? Because if the data locality principle is not adhering, then the data need to be travel again, and that will be take a lot of bandwidth of the cluster. So this is also important. And in case if we see that, if we say that if data locality, sometime it can be possible, cannot be met, let's say it cannot be met, then what will happen? Then yarn will start the another container, right? Then yarn will start the container, you can say on a node in same rack. So if you remember the rack concept, in the same rack, mostly try to put in the same rack, because within the same rack also the speed of the network bandwidth will be much faster, right? Or you can say if not possible, then you can say or any node in the cluster, then we can put say. So this is rack awareness problem we you have discussed in the last semester. And you can also say that yarn application can make resources, or can make resource request, right? So request something like that, that means it can be possible that it can ask for all the requests upfront. That means I need 10 CPU cores and 120 GB of RAM. That means this is upfront. So usually it happens in Spark. So you will learn this Spark in the next semester. Or it can be some dynamic approach it can follow. Okay. That is basically happen in your map reduce, right? So this is about the resource request. Okay, so last yeah, any question guys in this? So just I'm moving forward, okay, no problem. So now let's see what is an application lifespan. Application lifespan, that means it can be short lived, it can be a short lived application. That means it can be of, like, let's say I'm giving an example of, taking an example of few seconds, or it can be long running application which runs for a day or days or some month. Okay, just believing that this is a very big application. Or you can say that you can categorize the application, that how they map to the job which users run, right? So you can also categorize the application because how they map to the job that user runs. So you can say this can be like one application per user job, or you can say per user job, which is normally we call as a map reduce application. We have seen this application, one application per one user job. Or you can also say that there can be a one application per workflow, or you can say per user session, or it can be something like a not an related jobs, unrelated jobs. So it can be some unrelated job, different category of job. I'm just trying to put it into that way. Okay. So now if I say unrelated job, this can be like, you can say more efficient, or it can be container reused or between the jobs. So that means if we want these kind of a job, so if I say if it is a more efficient, that means container is actually reused between the jobs. So that means we are using the same course. Once the job is done, we are again using that. So that means we are more utilizing the resources of the cluster, right? Or you can say, or it can be like something, just to segregate, I'm using pipe sign. You can say you are caching the intermediate data between, you can say job, between job, which is basically done by the Spark. So you can also do caching, but in MapReduce we don't have any kind of caching, right? So this is very very important, just to make the things very very efficient. Or you can say that third point, you can say it can be a long running job, or you can say long running application. I'll use the word application because in Yarn we are using the word application. The long running application can be shared by different users. So in that we need to we should have some coordination rules. So we should have some coordination rules. Or in that case, there is a one of the tool of Apache is called Apache Slider. Okay, so just there is a one application of Hadoop, one tool of Hadoop, that is a Apache Slider. And then what this Apache Slider do, that it has actually an application master for launching other application in the cluster. Even your Impala, if you have heard about the Impala, just like an Hive, also uses these kind of stuff, right? So this is about the some points I have inculcate in the application lifespan. How the different kind of jobs are there. It is a short live, long live, or it can be some jobs which we can make it more efficient, and the container can reuse between the job, or some kind of caching and intermediate is there. Okay, guys. So this is about the today's session. Any question on this topic, or anything you want to ask? I can go back to the slides also. So if you have any question, please feel free to ask. So let's say in MapReduce, you have a fixed size slot. Yeah, remember? And fixed size slot is input split. The slot. Basically, you will see the word slot now. Okay, in the new bigger term. The slots are input splits, and which are fixed in size, equivalent to your you can say block size. So that means, let's say you have 128 MB, so that means you need to put 128 only. So let's say data is of only last data left with of 2 MB, then input split is will be there, right? But block will be of left size, and input split will agree to this. And even in the you can say Yarn, you can have a memory of 4 GB, or you can have 40 GB, or 400 GB, depend upon the availability in the node manager. So that means this is the dynamic size of the container. The container is actually a combination of RAM, right, plus your CPU cores. No, now just try to understand. If you have a fixed size, then you are not flexible, right? You are not flexible. When you have a dynamic, whatever amount of memory you needed, and it is available in the node, you can allocate to that. So this is the flexibility.